and I am not Catherine Davies. I thought she'd be back today. She's still in the sun of Dominican Republic, so I didn't know. I did not know, so I wasn't really prepared. So I pulled out and dusted off and kind of freshened up a previous conversation that we had last year because I think it's still really, really relevant because so much has happened, so much is happening. Cass, how do you are you on a computer or are you on your phone?
No, I'm on a computer.
Can I give you some power here to help me?
Sure.
People, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let
great.
people in.
Yeah, you betcha. Okay, I'm gonna make you co-host. Ta-da! Okay, so a couple things I want to go through. Again, of course, if you're in Hamilton, which I think everybody here is, come down to Williams Cafe on the first Wednesday. That's at 9:30 until 11 o'clock. We're there and we have our morning mixer. So come on down. What I really like about it is that we have a lot of folks that sign up on Eventbrite and all events. And so we get random people that show up, which is nice. So we get to meet some cool folks there. So definitely come out for that. And then second, we have our um our Simply Networking happening down at the Tracy's. Now listen, right now it's Tracy's, but we're looking for a different venue because sometimes Tracy's is great, but it is a little. I'm like Michael. I like to stand up. I don't like to sit down for networking events. I like to schmooze and roam around. You know what I mean? Michael, you look like you're going to say something.
I am. I thought when we were talking the one time went down at Williams that we were going to move one of those so that we don't have one on Tuesday night and then the another one Wednesday morning.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not the first Tuesday. We're looking to do it later on in the month. So I'm still date. So
So you
just
haven't
letting
put
you
in a
guys
date
know.
yet for the February Tracy's?
So the date right now is the 19th, but that's the same date as Brantford. So
Oh
it'll be
yeah.
either the 19th or the 20th, which I think is either the Monday or the Tuesday. So
Oh,
one
okay.
of those two dates, right?
Okay.
We're going to the third week of the month. It just makes life way easier. All right. Okay. And that will be, if worst comes to worst, it'll be Tracy's. I'm going to solve that today. But as of right now, I just it's been crazy, guys. It's been crazy. Hey, good seeing you guys.
For me, my money will be in my monthly
Fa-
money.
Fantastic. Okay, Maggie's buying drinks, everybody. Thank you so much, Maggie. That's good. Okay. So listen, I want to chat about listen, I want to just quickly go around because I know that we have May. May, are you here?
Hi, everyone. Yes.
How are you?
My name.
Listen, why don't you tell everybody what you do?
Okay. So I used to work as an administrative assistant for the Good Shepherd. Um, I also work at a banquet hall, doing serving. I'm interested as well in starting my own business in personal care and cosmetics. So, and I'm just doing a little bit of studying right now as well to go back to school.
And everyone here is going to tell you how easy it is to start a business and thrive. So I'm glad that you're here. Join us for conversation today. And of course, if you have any questions for anybody, definitely interrupt and say, "Hey, I want to ask you a question." Sagar, and then we go from there. All right. So we're going to talk about technology, and I find that I don't remember. Maybe I didn't pay attention before, but I find that technology is changing so much. And of course, I'm talking about tech because I do tech talk, right? But technology is changing so much that I find that it's getting overwhelming a little bit, right? The amount of changes in a diverse number of industry that it's really hard to kind of keep up with it. So in my brain, I was thinking, man, it can't just be me. It must be other people. But then I thought, maybe I'm like my mom and my dad, like when they got older and then they had to go to their 7-year-old and say, hey, can you like I had to figure out how to put change the face of my watch. You know what I mean? Like, can you and my 7-year-old just went in there, punched a couple buttons and said, there, dad, it's done. My 7-year-old. It's crazy. But do you feel it? Does anybody here feel that it's hard to keep up with all the different changes in technology and all the different sectors in our marketplace? What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Since nobody's talking, I'll say yes to that. It might be that I'm at my creaking old age of 51. Maybe I'm just slowing down too much. What I'm finding is that in order to keep up, you have to get more and more specialized, which is fine, but it means there's fewer and fewer jobs you're able to apply for or be able to defend that you're qualified for. And I'm wondering if we're going to get to a point where companies can't hire anybody because they can only accept the most specialized skills out there, and anybody who doesn't quite match is not going to be a candidate for it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because just because a technology comes out doesn't mean it's A, useful to you,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to use it, or you need to use it. So I think the bigger thing to do is if there's a problem you have, find out if there's technology that can fix it. If you don't have a problem or you don't have an interest in a technology,
Right.
you don't have to go like you don't have to go and do every piece of technology because quite frankly, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 20, 30 years ago, there's stuff that you don't need to know how to do. If I go back 50 years ago, 40 years ago, I went typing. There's a typing class in my high school. Why would I ever want to have a typing class? Typing's for secretaries. I don't need that technology. Guess what? Then I found out later on that I needed to do it. So I had to teach myself,
Right.
right? But I didn't have to know how to type in 1980. I had no use for typing.
I should have taken that typing class. I'm just telling you that right now. I should have taken it. So listen, what I will say is this. I feel what Peter's saying because there's some industries. Maggie's one, Peter's one. Of course, everybody knows Peter does a great job in building websites, especially WordPress websites. So imagine, Cassandra, that Peter has realized that things are really niching, that you have to be really specialized in certain things like in web development. And then there's the big, bad invisible wolf behind us, which is technology and AI that is chomping off bits of and pieces of our business, right? Making it, bringing it down to the to the average person really, really simply. I saw a demonstration where someone just spoke into, I guess, their microphone and told an AI what type of website that they wanted, what their industry was, and the AI built a nice site in like 40 seconds. So when you're looking at that, it's like it's hard to know how to plan, right? Like, what does the future look like? Technology is making it much more difficult. There are some people here, maybe Heather, you are you're immune, because people still need physical structures when they're going out and doing a show. But think about it. How many of us feel secure that AI isn't going to take our jobs in the next 10 years? Saigar, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, so like AI would be the assistant, I would feel. So it's just an assistant to us. We are still professionals and we have to give instructions to AI. I don't think AI can, I mean, there is an AI which can think by itself, like write a program by itself, right? But as you say, someone has to give instructions. Like in your case, I have to tell it, build a website, right? I have to give it the command to build a website. So there'll be always someone who has to do this job, to feed AI. That could be prompts. Let's say you build on prompts, you chain your prompts so that you build better output. from the AI. So I still feel, yeah, as Peter says, more and more specialized jobs. We might not need a lot of workforce. Like back in 90s, there are a lot of people working in computers, but right now it comes, there are not much people working there because a lot of stuff is automated, a lot of stuff is AI. So the same thing
Mhm.
can happen, but we still need workforce to operate it. So
So, but I'm thinking, I see your hand there, Heather. I see somebody like May. She's starting a business. She is starting out. Imagine 5 years from now when this technology is perfected. She doesn't need me. She doesn't need, she's going to go to an AI, say, hey, I need a
yeah.
website. This is what I'm doing. I've got the cosmetics. It's in folder B over here. Here's all the pictures. And it will then identify the picture, put together all the content for the pictures, upload them, add all the SEO for the pictures. I mean, my job's gone, right? Your job's gone, and basically we're kind of barreling there towards that. There's no, we can't go to the government and say, hey, can you put up some guardrails around this to protect our industry? The marketing industry needs a government bailout, you know what I mean? So that we can survive. Go ahead, Heather.
So I agree on multiple levels of multiple things here. So I agree with Peter. Like even in my industry, sorry to say, Ivan, but yes, the people want 3D modeling, for instance, of their booth. Like that's not a
Mhm.
technology I offer, but my suppliers do. So, I sometimes have to lean on them to be able to do that kind of stuff because we just don't have the software, and I'm not about to invest in that software to do that. But at the same token, it comes back to what I said last week about surrounding yourself with the right people. I feel that Michael's correct that not everything that you do has to be, or not every technology is going to be suitable for what you do and how you do it. But being aware of what's out there. And in terms of the AI portion, yeah, I mean, I do social media marketing. My background's marketing. So absolutely, AI has been completely influential and will continue to be influential in creating content. And the issue is it good content? Is it bad content? Is it useful content? What are your people wanting to hear? So you actually have to know and be very specific in what you're asking that AI to do. So you have to have a good base of what you want. And there's ones out there that work really great, and then there's ones that don't work great. And I think that being aware of them and using our contacts, like for instance, the other day, somebody mentioned that they're using an AI, and I go, well, how's it working for you? Having those conversations with them. You don't have to experiment with it, but having those people around you who do, awesome. I think that's enough said, and you're on mute, Ivan. Happy to
You
take over.
you can't read lips. Come on now. There's an AI out there that can do that. Anyway, go ahead, Frida.
Well, I was going to agree with you that a lot of technology is changing quite quickly. And yes, I can figure it out, but sometimes it's just easier to say, hey, Amanda, how do I do this? Because, she's 30 and she's grown up with more of this tech stuff than I have because I'm in my 60s. And so, yeah, I do believe that, but I don't think we need it all either. Like, I don't think that there's a lot of stuff that everybody says you need, but I don't think we really need it. And yeah, so plain and simple, straightforward, and whatever is sometimes best.
Frida, do you want it?
Do I want what?
We don't need it, right? We don't need
No,
it. We don't need
no,
ChatGPT, right? But
no.
do we want it?
I've never used it. I've looked at it
Okay.
a couple of times and I thought, nah, I can do it. I can do this myself.
Fascinating. Okay, go ahead, Cass.
Yeah, I think we lose before we figure it out with AI stuff. Like all the layoffs that have happened with journalists and different people, reporters, and it's become sort of a anybody man on the street Twitch streaming kind of journalistic world out there, and that's not peer reviewed. It's not people that you trust for sure that you have any idea that they know what they're doing or that they've looked at the facts. It's just whatever can be consumed. And so we lose on the the reliability when it comes to AI. You just don't know.
Yeah, and I see your hand there, Aiden. Give me 1 second. One of the things I've noticed recently, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, is even when you're doing search, and Sagar can probably chat to this, but I'm finding that I do a search for something, and the information now comes up in the sidebar of the search of Google or whatever it is, right? And so I don't need to click actually on the link. I don't need to go into the link to be able to get the information. How that's affecting SEO on websites? Like, how do we, how does that affect our stats of people, showing up on the site and therefore our ranking? It's all being affected because AI is doing a job that's taking away our authority over our own websites, right? So and it's not going to stop. It's not like we're going to complain, we're going to protest in the streets and Google's going to go, okay, my bad, and stop doing it, right? So we just have to adapt to the technology. It's kind of pushing us forward. Go ahead, Aiden.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, just needed to make sure.
Just speak real loud because you're quiet there.
Yeah, well, I had to make sure my mic was working, so I was tweaking with it a little bit because I just installed a brand new tower. Anyway, but basically, yeah, AI is see in my business, it's actually come to the forefront of my business because I'm in photography. I do a bit of journalism, and so it's definitely come to the forefront of my business. It's something that's definitely coming and something that I probably should become a little more aware of and actually delve more into because which I don't really have any experience. I'm just not educated in that field. I don't have a whole lot of technology experience, so getting that knowledge is something I need to definitely probably take classes in. So basically, but I find that AI is also making things lazy for people. It's just making people more lazy, and like Chat GDP, that's making people lazy, right? You could type in whatever you want searched or done for you, and just say, "Oh, can you do this and this and this and this?" And then boom, 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 it just comes up like that. Like, write me a media release, write me a news release, write me a press release. Boom, comes right out. And there you go. There's your laziness done. Boom. You don't even need to do it anymore. And that's just not right as a journalist. You should actually be typing that out yourself.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Maggie. I know you have something to say about that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. One thing I've been noticing, there's a lot of talk and controversy, like even on LinkedIn and things like if you're in like different groups like copywriting and things like that, about AI and writing, and is it going to put writers out of business? And I mean, that was my first thought. It's like, no, I don't want, but I still think that it can be a useful tool. Like I say, I use it for myself for idea generate, like article idea, just give me some ideas, if I'm stuck on an idea. And it's useful for that. I've tried doing like letter kind of things and it really did. It gave me some pointers, but that's about it. So it's useful, but it's also controversial. And as Aiden says, it can make you lazy if you use it improperly.
Yes.
It really can. And also there's the whole thing about, when it first came out, the controversy about kids using it in schools because, they're not going to learn. No, here, just generate me this article or for my assignment and then hand it in. Now, there's also a lot of talk too about whether or not you could distinguish between something written by AI and something written by hand, and I think you can at this point. Now but that could change in the future as
Yep.
it grows. So, we got to. I don't know. It's controversial. It's hard to sort of navigate the morality around it. Really, I don't know if morality is quite the right word, but
Yeah, Maggie, a year ago, it was a year ago,
yeah.
right? I don't know, Cass, if you remember, it was a year ago that we started talking about this thing, which is Chat GPT and
Yeah, and I
AI.
usually went like
It
this.
just kind of sprung on the scene, and now from then until now, it has been integrated into everything, right? I mean, I can't even generative AI in Adobe products and things. It's just an amazing adoption that every now they have cars now that they're showing at CES, where it's that voice is now AI, so you can ask it questions and it'll talk to you like a regular person. Go ahead, Cass.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, especially to Aiden, like how adopting technology happens with things like Zoom, right? This is ubiquitous to everybody now. We all that's a we all talk about going in Zoom or having to have a Zoom or be on Zoom. How many Zooms did you have today? And we all just assume that everybody knows how to use it because it's just everywhere. And so that's sort of the way that AI is going, is that it's just a tool and we just will figure out where and how it gets used.
Yeah.
And I totally use it similarly to Maggie, right? I'll go in and say, like, give me a list of, or give me topics for, or give me, right? I don't want it to write for me. I'm a writer, but I definitely would love it if it helps me with ideas.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes me lazy. I think it makes me more creative.
And the fact that you can go in, and I've done this because I saw it on a TikTok, so I tried it, where you go in and you say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to write a book. Can you give me the outline for the book? And then can you give me all the chapter headings for the book? And then once you've done the chapters, then you say, okay, can you write me a chapter about this? Basically, and it's not going to write you a full, chapter. I mean, it's going to give you. I think it's limited to a certain number of words that it's going to give you, but it'll give you something that's a good starting point for each chapter, and then you, of course, hopefully, will be bringing something to the table to customize it to your own self, right? But I think that it's absolutely amazing. How many people here have heard the song? I know that we did it on Tech Talk, but there's a song that I asked uh, I asked this AI, um, to write me the lyrics for a song for this great city's Tech Talk, right? And it came up with a really good song. It gave me great lyrics that I thought this is really kind of cool. And then I thought, well, I'd really like to turn this thing into music. I'd like to hear it sung. So I said, can you put together music and can you give me voices to sing it? Right. And it did. How many people have actually heard it? Okay. All right. So if you've heard, I'm not going to play it now, but I'll tell you, it's on my Facebook page. If you really want to go back, it's got a catchy little tune, right? Yeah. The soundtrack is not going to be on Spotify at any time soon, but it is kind of cool that you can go to an AI, have it write you a song. You want to put together a song for your husband or your wife or whatever it is. You can have this thing put together a song for you, sing it for you, and then you can output it and send it across to your client or your wife, your husband, whatever. That is a quantum leap forward, and that's in a year, right? So, yeah, so 2 years from now, what is going on with generative AI? Go ahead, Maggie.
Well, the other thing too I've been seeing and is artwork. This one guy, James Birchill, some of you may know him. He's
Mhm.
local. He's been posting on LinkedIn a lot, like some really wild artwork and stuff. And you have to kind of think how that's going to affect artists as
Amazing.
well.
Amazing.
I used to be an artist. I like not professional, but still, and I want to get back to it. But I think people, I mean, people are always going to create art because a lot of times they just enjoy it. A lot of artists are maybe not in, they're more hobby artists and they love doing it. I mean, there is a physical love of it, but it's also that, and like I wouldn't even mind learning how to do that for, I have an idea in my head of something I want to do business wise, you know,
Maybe
but
that's a tech talk.
out
Well,
there, yeah, it's like, well, it's a cave with crystals. It's,
yeah, yeah. Well, we
but
can get into that. But you know what,
yeah,
Maggie, is
but it's
maybe
something
one of
I
the
can't draw. I don't have the tools right now to draw permanently
yeah.
or the patience. But if AI could do it, but it would be for something else, not for as an art piece. But
Yeah, has anybody used Midjourney? Yeah, you have, right? It's pretty straightforward, right?
okay, what
Have
is it
you,
called?
Cass? Okay, yeah. So we'll
I
do
have.
that on Tech Talk one time. You have.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
It's a hit or miss. Like I kind of just played around with it and
Yeah,
put things in, and there's always, extra fingers or the arm is placed somewhere else, things like that. But it's
yeah.
pretty good. I find it better than like using Chat GBT or the other ones. So I like Midjourney.
Yeah,
Yeah, what,
and I
what
actually just look at the other people's prompts above to find out how they get their pictures to look. So I start adding crazy things. But what's amazing is I had one where it's, everybody knows the story about Daniel in the lion's den, right? So I had it like, where are you going to find a picture of Daniel in the lion's den? You're not, right? So you have to go to Midjourney and say, I'd like to have a picture of Daniel in the lion's den taking a selfie. So I did that, and it's a really great, I think it's a great picture. And it actually, helps me to figure out what Daniel looked like. He was buff anyway. So that so you can go there and ask Midjourney to create something for you, and just think about it. I use Adobe stock photos, so I pay for a subscription, whatever. I'm starting to find AI generated content now in stock photo lab, because really, am I going to go and hire models now, where I can tell an AI to create a model, right? And have her dress a certain way or him dress a certain way, holding a certain product, right? And it'll do it for me, which is kind of neat. Maggie, was there something else?
um
Or if not, I'll go to Michael.
oh, okay. Well, actually, just one question. What was the name of that program again?
Midjourney for drawing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
and
and
is it free or is there a cost?
there's a small cost, but let me tell you something. It is worth every penny. I think it's like $8 or something. And you get a certain number of. I've never actually maxed out on the number of things that I can request, for
But
that
you can
minimum
try it for
amount.
free.
And you can try for free. That's right.
Okay.
For I think they give you 14 tries or something. So um,
Yeah.
definitely go ahead and do it. It's worth it, right?
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Michael.
So AI can do all kinds of stuff. It can write all kinds of stuff. That's all fine and dandy. But what you still have to do is verify what AI wrote is actually true and factual. Because we already know that, and this was on a 60 Minutes I watched, where they asked AI to write a book. And AI whipped out this book really quick. And it had references to people and everything on where it got its information. And then the reporter actually went and did the research. People don't exist, facts don't exist. So if you're going to count on something without doing your research, and
Yeah.
this is every time a new technology comes along, people go, well, what are people going to do? We're going to have nobody working. Okay, well, guess what? Every time you invent new machines, somebody has to learn how to fix that machine. Someone has to be there to run that machine. Somebody's got to be there to make sure that whatever that machine has to have to do its task is there. So, what I mean, I don't think it's any greater of a threat than any of the automation that's been going on in various industries for a long time. And, another technology is going to come out 5, 10 years from now, and we're going to hear the same old argument we've been hearing since the 80s. when the first robot went into like the Ford factory in Oakville. There's not going to be any workers left in Ford. Well, guess what? There's still all kinds of workers at Ford. They're just doing different tasks. That's all. And that's how humanity evolves, right? We have to learn how to do new, different tasks, and people identify opportunities for work every time one of these new technologies comes out. So I don't think we have to worry about the technology. What we have to worry about is that we don't identify those opportunities and take advantage of them. You're muted, Ivan. Your lips are moving. And Teresa told me it's not February 5th. I sent her a message, and February 5th
It is February
not.
5th.
No, she said it's not.
When's our anniversary? February 5th. You crazy guy. She's right here. I'll have to go to
He made you
ChatGPT
have
for
to
that.
ask the question.
That would have been very stressful. Okay. Anyway, listen. So the thing here about ChatGPT is that the way it is right now is the worst it's ever going to be. And I said this last year, and it's gotten better, right? Like the fingers issue, they've been working on quite a bit when it comes to Midjourney. And generative AI has been so good that now it's included in major software like Adobe, Photoshop and stuff. And I'll tell you, so for instance, I had a picture of a house. Sometimes you have a picture and it doesn't fit the space that you want to put the picture. You need it to be wider, right? But you didn't actually stand back and take a wider picture. So you can now tell Adobe to just increase the size of the canvas, and then you could tell generative AI basically by selecting the empty space and just a little smidgen of the picture and say fill it in, and then generative AI fills in the background, and it's absolutely shocking every time I do it. That it's really good. What would have taken me, if anybody works on Adobe Photoshop, you know how long it took you before to be able to take somebody out of a picture or to be able to add, you had to find something which was at the same angle and then same lighting, and then you had to put it in there and try and not anymore. Now it takes about 15 seconds, and it fills it in, and then you just grab it. And so what it does is it just shortens the time that it takes for you to do it. And also Maggie or Heather, she doesn't need me now. She doesn't have to say, hey, I need to hire somebody to go and take this picture and make it bigger. She just goes and does it herself. This is how it makes, like, for people like May who's starting up a business, if she can do it herself, and the cost of launching is way less, right? Go ahead, Cass.
I just wanted to comment something on what you said there. That's always been the case. Go back to my example earlier on. I didn't learn how to type in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you would have had to hire a stenographer to write letters and stuff for you. Somebody invented WordPerfect. Guess what? Now you can type the letter yourself. That's right. You don't need someone to type it. So this is an ongoing thing. This isn't.
And then you got things like Otter. Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Go, Cass.
I was going to say two things. One is Canva. I don't actually use Adobe, but I use Canva, and oh my gosh, I think it's just as powerful. It has all that AI stuff. It's got great libraries. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Just that plug. I'm so addicted. And then the other thing is you said this is the worst it's going to get. Like, or it's going to always get better. And I just want to say the opposite of that. The idea that this is the best that we're going to have it without AI. Right now, it's always going to keep getting worse, that AI is going to be in everything. So right now is the best times. It's just going to get more invasive and included and involved in everything that we're doing. It's just a different perspective on that.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead, Sager.
Yeah, so on the other perspective where so this AI gonna improve, right? So we are right now just 2 years into ChatGPT. So everyone got to know about ChatGPT just 2 years back, and they constantly upgrade it. Now it's 5.4, then 6,
Mhm.
7, right? So there are always upgrades, and I feel what's gonna happen, like Mid-Journey, when it started, it was just a new technology, but now it could do a lot of things which we cannot imagine, right? Just like you said, an example. So that's one thing. But the next thing behind this AI, there's a lot of computing power, and that's the problem too. So NVIDIA is the only chip maker that supports this entire power. So it's
Wow.
huge power. For AI, that's why their stock has risen like 200 times from the time ChatGPT has come out.
Okay.
But there are other processors too, they're competing. But what I see with AI is that the computing power is not enough. So someday um, there is not enough power for this AI to work, and it can even shut down, like
Yeah.
how bitcoins are limited, right? There's a limit on bitcoin. They cannot go beyond a number. Just like that, I feel the technology behind AI, the computing power behind AI, if that doesn't scale, AI won't scale. So there'll always be a limit on how many people can use it, or how much can it do. So yeah.
Fascinating, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's neat. So, I think about so back to the original thought here on technology, right? So you have this technology that's coming in, and we have no idea what new technology is going to be introduced. I mean, when you think about the fact that uh, I was watching on the news in Japan, I think it is, and they're collecting digital information, your digital footprint on the web or wherever it is, and they're turning it into things that where you can actually speak to the person after they pass on, right? So they'll collect everything from me, right? All my tech talks and all my morning coffees and whatever else I've written or whatever, and then when I pass on, if I subscribe to this thing, then which is great. Wow, it's brilliant. This is how they get you to continue paying after you're gone. Anyways, but the point is that you can come to my graveside and you can say, "Hey, Ivan, how you doing?" I go, never been better. No, but and then you can have a conversation with me. I need your advice on this, and it will go back through everything that from me, and it'll give you an answer. A little creepy, I thought it was. I thought it was a little creepy because I think they were trying to see if they can actually also create like 3D holograms of me sitting there talking to you, right? You like talking about never ever having closure. You know what I mean? But this is not a reality for us right now, right? In any meaningful way. But think about all those people. I don't know who said it, that the technology comes out and then somebody goes, "Oh, you know what I could do with that technology is I can create this." And then an entire industry springs up around that thing to support it, and people start buying it. Do we need it? Do you need to talk to your relatives that have passed on, right? But a lot of people want it. You know what I mean? And so they're gonna get it. So anyway, so that's basically that. Now, does it cause anxiety for small business people where you sense that that the market can easily become super saturated because anybody can go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, create a website for me, write the content for me," and they can be up and running tomorrow. That 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 time from concept to completion is really, really short, can be, depending on your industry, really short. So, you know, does technology, especially if that other person is really good at utilizing tech. Now, I'm going to give you an example which has nothing to do with uh, with small business. It has to do with politics. And I'm thinking about Barack Obama. When Barack Obama ran for office, he was very disruptive because he used something that nobody used before, and they didn't even understand what he was doing and how he was financing himself. But he used something that was really not really understood back then, which was crowdfunding and social media to get micro payments to fund his campaign. And what ended up happening was that he ended up having a more direct connection with his supporters, right? Through social media. People felt like they had a connection with him on that. And poor Hillary, you know, she just didn't know what was happening, right? Like she should have been in the lead, and she just didn't know. And by the time that she figured it out, who would have been the better candidate? I don't know, and I don't want to even go into that. But what I will say is that for us today, it's those that can identify that new technology and figure out how to use it and implement it in its most, extreme case. Like think about if you brainstorm this thing out, how can you maximize your yield from that technology? Go ahead, Maggie.
Okay, yeah, basically, the one thing I'm thinking of too is that technology is great. I mean, to learn it, to use it, it can be like a helpful tool. But as I mentioned before, kids are using it in school. If they're starting to do their homework on that and doing that, they're not learning. And I've noticed this for years that if we become too dependent on it, I think we still need to know basics, like even basic math. That's the thing with all the cash registers now. They're all electronic. They do all that. Like kids, they can't even count back change. A lot of them. I mean, I grew up with like when I used to work retail, like craft shows, I had fanny packs. But a lot of kids don't even know how to do that. There was one time years ago, I went in to buy a magazine and I knew what that magazine cost me because I bought it every month. Well, it came up as a higher charge. I said, no, that's not right. And she insisted, oh no, the machine says it's right. It's right. It's like, no. And I even looked to see if the price had gone up. It hadn't. I said, no, I know what I pay for it every month. She basically somehow it had calculated the tax wrong, but she couldn't figure this out in her head that, okay, this is the price on the magazine, but there is tax. And she couldn't figure out that was way, like a couple of dollars, way too much. It's totally dependent on the machine. And I look at the times when things have gone down, like that. It was about what it was maybe a year or two ago that, yeah, a year and a half so that everything went down. I remember it was like June or July or something like that. And that one day, so many things were going, like bank machine, all kinds of stuff was going. Like there was,
Yeah, I think that was
Rogers was down.
Yeah,
Rogers was
that's
down.
right.
Rogers,
Yeah.
yeah. I wasn't too, I'm a TELUS, so I wasn't too like I still had my internet. But there were places like I went in and like you literally had to pay cash because they couldn't use their machines.
Right.
And
Yeah.
or even if power, now this was back in the 80s, but the power
So
went out in a grocery store.
yeah, I know.
Back then,
But so Maggie. So listen, here's the thing, and you do bring up a good point, but I don't mean to sound mean here or anything, but businesses don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that, so I'll give you an example. Money, right? I got a text this morning from somebody saying, "Hey, listen, you know what? A couple countries are going with a completely digital currency, so they're getting rid of cash, and hopefully Canada will hurry up and go there, so I don't have to think about cash. Cash is really dirty. I don't want cash. Cash." But if you were to say that to the majority of the people, they'll say, "No, no, 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 no. Don't get rid of cash because you get rid of cash, and guess what? You lose buying power, obviously." Because
Yeah.
so instead of $1, now you only have 98 cents or whatever the fee is they're going to charge you. So, but somehow we're marching towards cashless society. The progress is just moving forward so that the fiat currency of Canada is going to be a cryptocurrency. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying that. Okay, Cass, go ahead. I love it. Go ahead.
I just want to say, is it progress? Like you use that word, is it really progress, or is it control, or is it ownership, or
Yeah.
is it, like is it a good thing for us?
Okay.
What happens when Rogers goes down and everything goes down, and all of a sudden is you have a little piece of worthless plastic?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
So Maggie, you remember back in the good old days when we had a conspiracy theory night. We had a conversation. So listen, there's all kinds of crazy things that happen, but yeah, we're moving forward. for better or for worse, we're moving forward, right? And we are choosing things that technology is able to do. Doesn't mean that we should do it. It's like Mars is there, but should we actually live on a planet where the atmosphere will kill you? Like, but we're moving forward. We're building ships. You know what I mean? So my question is, does that not bring, I mean, that alone, the elimination of cash brings anxiety to me, right? It brings anxiety to me because now, somebody can say, you know what, Ivan, he didn't pay his TELUS bill, so let's shut down his ability to buy and sell, right? Right. So now Ivan can't. Oh, then I got to call TELUS and say, listen, can we make an arrangement, please, so I can get my ability to go back to to start buying stuff, right? So, or they feel that you're a fugitive, right? Well, what do? They shut down your bill. Like you can't just say, okay, well, I've got cash. I know I can't use my credit cards, but I'll use cash because then they can't trace me. Well, there's no other way for you unless you're going to barter. You know what I mean? So I think that technology in itself is so exciting. I'd love to hear, Natasha, what your thoughts are on this. Technology is so exciting that we can't help ourselves from moving forward, even though it might be damaging.
I mean, it is scary, but there's so many for me, anyways, when I see all these different new things coming out, it's kind of exciting to get to dabble in and, see what they do and how they can help me within my business. But I mean, it's the way of the future, so we got to kind of embrace it.
That's it's the way of the future. We have to embrace it, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. Do we need flying cars? I mean, I've seen people get upset with people and try to run them over, right? But now a flying car, you break up with that person and they're upset. Guess what? They're coming for your apartment. The 13th floor isn't going to save you. Go ahead, Heather.
I think you're talking about the Jetsons. No, but somebody, all kidding aside, somebody actually said, one day, if you look back at the Jetsons, a lot of what they talk about is actually true. We have robots, we have telecommunication.
Yeah. We do talk into devices and things happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's our imagination running at its finest, right? I also think though that you brought up a good point that I was actually already going to raise, which is the whole barter system. The barter has been around for centuries and centuries and centuries, and we're never going to get away from that. And in fact, anything, it's become bigger than it ever was before. And I mean, look at our mutual friends barter pay. Oh my gosh,
right.
They're across the country, right? And they're even saying pay themselves. This is their platform. It is bigger than it has ever been before. We are expanding at an astronomical rate. And
absolutely,
I have clients who have said to me, unless you're on barter pay, I'm not working with you. And I'm like, holy crap, man! I guess I'm on barter pay.
Guess I got to be on there.
Yeah. I think that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I have a client who's crypto who said, I want to pay you in crypto. And I was like, no, that I'm not doing. But, I think there's so much just uncertainty with certain technologies. And it really just comes back to being excited that we can dabble in these things, being excited that they are changing our lives and hopefully for the better. Not everything's going to work perfectly. These driving cars that are on their own, we look back and see all the recalls. Okay, but you know what? Quaker Oats just had a huge recall. Okay, on cereal. I mean, these things were eat. So I think we have to embrace it as much as we can. It doesn't mean we have to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's it's like having a watch that can listen to me. Like when we got this watch, I set it up and it said, hey, you have to give the watch permission to record you. I thought about it for a second. It didn't say record you at specific times. It just says give it permission to record you. And It bothered me, Heather, I have to say, for about a nanosecond. And I said, approve. Right? I got to get this thing set up. I got to know what time it is, right?
The scary part on that part of the technology is that it's making way too easy for identity theft. You know,
it
we
is.
worry about just our garbage cans. No, now we got to worry about everything that we own, everything that we do, our garage doors, for Pete's sake. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, and you heard the story about, of course, the Roombas, right? You know, those vacuum cleaners. They went around the houses and they started to take pictures of people. Even had a picture of a woman sitting on the toilet. It not only shot the pictures, but it then posted those pictures online. Now think about it. Somebody programmed that. It's going to take pictures of people and post it online, right? So do you trust your technology? But I'm telling you this, on this phone, most people have installed apps without reading the terms and conditions at what those apps can do. We give away our so and I think it was on one of our talks that we showed Sagar that they a guy used AI to clone his voice, and then he had the technology call his mother and say, "Hey, mom, I need you to send me a copy of my credit card." Or your credit card, right? Her credit card. And she goes, "Okay, sweetheart." And she sent it to him, right? It wasn't him. So every time that your phone rings and some guy, and nobody answers, and you go, "Hello, hello, who's there? Anybody there? Hi, you there?" They're recording you, and next thing they're gonna call up, your and say, "Dad, it's Ivan, I need you to help me. I'm stuck." And Dad's not gonna say, "Okay, son, I'll call you right back." He's gonna go, "Hang on, what do you need? Where do you want me to send it?" Uh, Dad, I want you to go to Walmart and buy some gift cards or whatever. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
and they
got
believe you because they hear your voice.
yeah. I got something similar, although it wasn't by voice, it was all by text back in the spring. Somebody claiming to be my daughter. They texted me and said, "Mom, my phone broke. I'm texting from another number because my phone broke." And I said, "Oh, well, what happened?" I texted her back and said, "Oh, I think she said, well, fell in water of some sort." And I said, "Well, did you try the ricing or not?" And then, but basically said she had this bill that had to be paid that day, or she would have a penalty. She
Wow.
wanted me to see if I could pay it, and then she would just pay me back. And I should have clued in, but I was having a rough time anyway, and I was so upset with life, but because otherwise I probably would have clued in. And I asked, "Well, how much is the bill?" And she puts 18 something. And I go, $18 and something cents. It's no, 18, like
Wow.
800. And that I said,
Wow.
"Well, sorry, but I don't have that to my name right now." But
Wow.
now I was in Welland at the time, and I said, "Well, I met Mr. Mike's. If you, because I was meeting some people, I said, if you want to come here with the cash, I've got two banks, BMO and
Right.
RBC, very close. We can
Yeah.
get
We're gonna have to
here."
bleep that out. We don't
Yeah,
want people knowing where your banks are, but yeah.
yeah, well, no, but they were
Right.
just branches. I just said
Yeah,
branches, but I said, if you can get here with the cash, we'll go down, we'll deposit it, and then I'd be happy to do it.
absolutely.
Never heard of nothing after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to be honest with you, if I get a text from anybody, sorry,
My daughter was
Megan, I'm going to mute you because we're wrapping it up. But if listen, I'm going to tell you this: if somebody sends you a text and says anything to you, anybody, what I do is I say, "Hey, let's get on the phone and talk." If anybody adds me as a friend, and I don't know if anybody here has done that recently, but what I'll do is I will say, "Hey, listen, let's jump on a call. Let's jump on a Zoom call." So that because I see your picture, it's on your request, right? If you are the same person on the call, then I know that you're legit, right? So, and I've never had any of those people actually jump on the call. So I don't add them. I just don't trust anybody, right? So because technology has made it so easy, right, to lie and get away with things, and people are cruel and liars. Generally, not you, of course, my beautiful friends, but generally. So yes, be very careful, and you should feel a little bit of anxiety, but technology is moving forward. Brace yourself. The future's coming, whether you're ready for it or not. The countdown is on. Chat GPT is going to be in everything. It's in your phone already, right? AI is in your phone. AI is sitting in your living room if you have Alexa, right? And it's constantly listening to you. All
I
right.
just want to say on that note too, and I wanted to raise this earlier about the technology in your phone. Just remember, anytime you ask it to track your activities, or if you have Waze or Google Maps, anything like that, it's tracking you. And I've literally had people say, "Hey, you were at such and such a place recently," because they on my phone. I was like, "How the heck did you know that?" And that was a special ed student of mine. And I was totally freaked out.
Right.
It's easy enough for them. It's easy enough for everyone else.
Yeah.
So
You
beware.
never forget your first time when Google sends you that email saying, "Hey, this is where you went this month," with pictures and stuff. And I'm thinking, dude, did I check that off to say I accept? Anyway, but you know, we don't even feel it anymore, Cass. That's the thing. We don't feel it anymore. We don't care about the data that we give away freely, And I was listening to a podcast talking about the war, Second World War, Germany, like how they would go in and bug your house and set up people to spy on you and everything else. And the information that we're collecting, we give that information away every day for free without any sort of no one coercing us. We don't, and we
George
gladly do.
Orwell is spinning in his grave.
Yeah, man. Like it's just cray, right? And we do it because we love comfort, right? We love comfort. So, I can't imagine. Imagine if somebody says, Heather, put your phone away. Don't take your phone with you. Cancel your account. We're gonna go, yeah, but how am I going to play fishdom? Like, like,
I'd be quite happy, as a matter of fact. It's a necessity evil.
all right, listen, folks, thank you for joining. Remember, first Wednesday, Williams Cafe down here at the marina. Come on down, have a coffee with us in the morning. It's a great conversation. And then, of course, remember to join us at Tracy's. But look at the website homepage. There's the calendar there. It'll tell you where the event is actually going to be. I'll have that posted sometime today. Oh, and just so that you know, not Rib Fest. I'm thinking about going vegan. It's the ribs are on my mind. No, but we have the Great City Vendor Fair happening on June 9th. It's nice. We've got a bunch of tables already sold. I think we're at probably about 10 now, so that's good. So definitely come down. We're still looking for a band. So if anybody knows a country band, I love country music. So don't make me start singing. But if you know a band that can play, then let me know because we're looking to hire a band to play outside. We're gonna have an outside patio with tables and stuff, and we definitely want to have that country music just slamming out
Yeah,
there.
you
All right.
get Kenny Chesney in there, you'll be sold out.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds expensive. So we have a budget, okay? But yeah, absolutely. I'm willing to entertain anybody. All right. And so mark it on your calendar, June 9th. Come on out. And if you want to be a vendor, call me because there are incentives on right now to be a vendor at our event. And by the way, if you are going to be a vendor or if you're thinking about being a vendor, and you're not sure about your display, guess who is partnering with us to make sure that they get everybody set up with a display? I don't know if you can guess who it is. So
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah. So yeah. So make sure that you call Heather. Heather will look after you. She's amazing and she's got great prices. And if you've not been up to Guelph to check out what she's got, please do. Heather, we're gonna do another thing up there, right? We're gonna do another morning thing. Okay, we should kind of coordinate that with Teresa, and that will be fantastic. All right, thanks everybody. Have an amazing day.
Ciao, everybody. I think you got a second.